Hello and welcome. Today I'm down the plot and I've brought some onions with me that I'm going to plant in this bed here. But let me show you a few other things that have happened since I was last here. So the carrot bed that's in this corner here that I planted up last time, I've taken off the cardboard that was here and there is absolutely no sign of any carrots at all so far. They've only been in for about 5 days, so maybe I was a bit optimistic hoping to see something so soon. But I did cover them in cardboard and the cardboard did work because it did keep the top nice and moist. So if any seeds did germinate, they shouldn't have dried out. And I've checked the other carrot bed as well and the same there, there's no carrots anywhere. So that's a good sign in a way because it means that nothing has germinated yet. But then it also means nothing is germinated yet. But hopefully we'll see some carrot germination in the next few days. Then if we come to the flower bed near the main gate, you can see that we've had visitors who have been trying to get to the bulbs in the ground, and they've also eaten the tops off the tulips. And the same over here. So they don't seem to have eaten the bulbs as such, they just seem to have unearthed them, but they have eaten the tops of the tulips. So I think the combination of my new fence and my neighbour's new fence has actually locked some rabbits in here rather than keeping them out. So I'll have to do something about that a bit later on, but for the time being I have to concentrate on getting my beds in and I'll just cover everything and then hopefully they won't get to anything that is covered. That's the plan. So let me show you the onions I'm going to plant. I've got 3 kinds of onions here today. These ones are Kelsea. All these ones here are Kelsea and they grow to be very big onions, kind of like show onions I think. Then all the ones with the red labels are Rjinsburger. I'm probably pronouncing that really wrong and I apologise to anyone if I am pronouncing it wrong. And these other ones here were my good old faithful Ailsa Craig. I've also got some cabbages and collies here, but these are not going out. They were just in this tray, so I thought I'd bring them for a little outing. And I've also got some lavender here, which I want to plant either side of those beds there. So in my last visit here, I fertilised the bed with some fish blood and bone and some chicken manure pellets, so it's all good to go now. So let's get planting. I've spaced them all out in the beds and they should be roughly about 15 centimetres apart, only roughly. So I've got the Rjinsburger here. There were 13 pots of them, so I've got one in this section, and then I've got 7 pots of the Ailsa Craig and then 9 pots of the Kelsea, and then I've got a bit of space here which is where I'll pop some spring onions because I've got them ready to go with nowhere to put them. So that's worked out well. I'll bring them down a bit later on. So let's get on and plant them. The good thing about the spacing is I plan to put tomatoes in here to grow on until the onions come out. So the tomato plants will probably go in when they're fairly small. But it means that with the spacing I've got, I can pop them in between the plants, the onion plants that are in here. So that's why I plant them at the spacing I do. So it's all planted up now. I just need to water it in. I've also done the lavender here and one in this corner here. Hopefully the rabbits won't eat it. And there's one in that one there and that one there. I've cleared out some space from this tray as well, which is great, because I've got some celeriac growing on at home, which just needs to go into those pots now that I've just emptied, and then they can go into the greenhouse and carry on growing until the other bed is ready for them. I just need to water this now and then cover it over. I brought down my little small Enviromesh tunnels for the time being, because I need to transport my big cloches down from home, and I haven't got time to do that today, because I also need to extend them, so that's going to be a job, you know, that's going to take a while. So these will have to do for the time being, and I'll get on and water this and cover it over and show you what it's like when I'm done. They're all covered up now, just as a precaution really, until I can get the other ones done. And I'm going to now make a start on some of these nettles over here. You can see that when I took up that astroturf, you can see that big long nettle root there. So I need to try and get some of these nettles out, ready for putting down a bed over here. I've only got about 25 minutes left down here, so let's see how many of those nettles I can get out in that time. So my 20 minutes is up and I've hardly made a dent, but everything I dug up is in this wheelbarrow, and if I can show you how thick these roots are. That was one root. They're really heavy because the roots go deep under the ground, and this one was another. I don't think I could even get that all in shot. Look, if I come back a bit. So that one was attached to here, so it was leading all the way across there. I haven't even finished pulling it up, but I thought I'd leave that there so I could see where I had got to. So yes, I've hardly made a dent, but I only had 20 minutes to do it, so it was 20 minutes well spent, because hopefully I'll have got it right down and got those roots out and they won't come back, is the plan. I have picked some rhubarb as well, let me show you. This is the big rhubarb patch that was on my plot when I got here, and I've just picked about 5 stems of them. So there's still plenty there. But if I get a chance, I'll make some rhubarb crumble later. But there is lots of rhubarb there for me to make wine as well, so that's really good. Right, let me show you what I've been up to at home, because I've been working on my asparagus bed in the front garden. I have got a really big job ahead of me today, and it's to prep this whole bed that's here. This is the asparagus bed. There's 2 rows of asparagus in the front, and then I always plant potatoes in the back. The asparagus has started coming up, which is great, but I need to put down some well-rotted horse manure, which I should have done way before now, but I just haven't got around to doing it. I need to take out the not purple sprouting broccoli, but the broccoli and the cabbages that were growing in here over the winter. They have all gone to flower now, so I need to take them out so I can plant the potatoes where they are. And I also need to give it a good old weed before I can put the well-rotted manure down, which is in my compost heap at the back. And now that I've looked at it, there doesn't look like there's very much there, but what is there will go on this bed. So let's get cracking with that. So I've cleared it all of weeds now. All the stuff there is the flower from the broccoli. I've left this cabbage in place because I think it's quite happy there, and the potatoes can grow around it. That shouldn't be a problem. I think that will heart up before the potatoes are ready. So I think it will do more harm to transplant that cabbage now because it's grown very big than if I just leave it there. So I think it'll be fine if I just leave it there. So that's what I'm going to do. I also found some volunteer potatoes, so I dug them up and I'm just going to pot them into another pot. Did I say pot them into another pot? Put them into another pot. And the only volunteer potatoes I've left is this plant here because it's established quite well, so I'll leave that one there. I've just got to remove this pipe in now, and then I can crack on with getting that manure down. Nice looking compost from the horse manure. I'm pleased with this. It's been rotting down for a year, so it's well and truly ready now, which is good. I need to go and get some more. But what I'm going to do is because I'm not sure how much I've got and my asparagus has started coming through, I'm just going to place a spadeful on top of where the asparagus is, rather than what I normally would do, which is tip the whole wheelbarrow onto the bed and then rake it in. I think I might risk damaging some of the asparagus if I do it that way. So it's going to be a bit of a longer process doing it this way, but at least I'll save the asparagus. And it's my own fault. I should have done this job earlier, shouldn't I? So there we go. Next year, hopefully, I'll get this done in February like I normally do. Because the asparagus is planted, opposite each other, I know that if one is coming up here, there'll be a clump there, which is how I know where to put it. I'm just taking the dead bits off the onions before I plant them. I'm really pleased to have got all this prepped. It's it didn't take as long as I thought for a start, and I didn't think I was going to get around to doing it this soon. I mean, it's not soon. Normally I've done it by now, but things this year, time has been against me, so I'm really pleased to have got this done, because it does make a big difference to the front garden when this bed looks tidy. So let's get on with planting these onions. These onions are Ailsa Craig. I plant them every year here and they've always done very well. I am going to put a bit of bloodfish and bone in the planting pocket. Because I feel like it would do them some good. So these are multi-sown, so there's about 2 or 3 per station, and they should grow to sort of like medium size, I'd say, which is good. So they got a good old root system on them. I planted these, or sowed these rather, back in October, November time. So they've grown all over the winter. I've got some others in the back garden as well, which I sowed January, so they're a little bit behind these ones, but that's okay, they'll catch up. So I'm leaving about 15 centimetres between each station and trying to put them in between where I'm hoping the asparagus is going to come up. I'm having a look at each one because there's a bit of black fly on some of them, and whilst they won't be undercover, sometimes the ladybirds don't always eat the black fly and you have a bit of an infestation, and we don't want that. Right, I'll get on and plant up the rest and I'll show you what it's like when I'm done. So my onions are all in now. I just need to water them all in. It's very dry underneath. We haven't had rain for ages. But I'm going to move on to planting out my first earlies, which are Maris Bard. So they got some good size chits on them, 3. So I'll just dig a hole. Oh, I need my potato fertiliser, don't I? Hang on. Got the potato fertiliser now. And I just do a little handful in and around, really. Pop that in, cover it over. If I have enough compost, I will just put a little bit on top, but otherwise I don't often earth up my potatoes by putting them in the ground quite deep. Well, not deep, but I find that usually works okay for first and second earlies. So I'll get on and plant the rest of these. And I've also got Wilja as my second earlies, and I'll plant them too. So that is this bed all set up now. I just need to water it in, but my mum said she'll do that for me, so I can crack on with getting something else done. I am so pleased to have got this done. I can't tell, well, I am telling you how pleased I am. I can't explain how pleased I am, because it just means that it just feels like a weight is lifted, you know, getting those potatoes in. I don't know, and getting the onions in. Onions and potatoes make such great meals, don't they? That it's just fab I got them in. Right, let's go find something else to do. So I did make my crumble, my rhubarb crumble. Let me show you how I made it. And I'm now just going to put this in the oven for about 25 to 30 minutes, just until the top is nice and golden. And the oven is on 180 degrees fan. I cut the rhubarb into chunks and put them into a pan, along with 2 balls of stem ginger, some of the stem ginger syrup, along with a small amount of water, 4 tablespoons of light sugar. Then I left them on the hob to stew for about 5 to 10 minutes. And while the rhubarb is stewing, I'll get round to making the crumble. So I add 175 grams of flour to 125 grams of cubed butter and 50 grams of oats, and then I scrunch them all up together using my hands until they begin to resemble breadcrumbs. Then I add 125 grams of sugar, a handful of almonds, a tablespoon of desiccated coconut, and a couple of tablespoons of mixed seeds, and then I mix them together with my hands. And now the crumble mix is ready, let's check on our stewing rhubarb. So the rhubarb is ready now, and I'm just going to ladle it into this Pyrex dish and put in as much really as you want to. I'm going to keep some of the rhubarb mixture back to have with yoghurt, and I'll put some chia seeds in it and have it for breakfast with some yoghurt. Now I'm happy with the amount of rhubarb. I'm just going to pop the crumble topping on top, and then once that's all flattened out, I'll put it in the oven. I'll leave it in there for about 25 to 30 minutes until it's golden. And here it is, ready for trying. I had to go to work last night, so I didn't get a chance to do the, film it from like coming out of the oven. So have a look. Looks nice, smells nice. It is nice. It's, the rhubarb and the ginger together are quite sharp, but it has a slight sherbety taste. Like the sharpness is a bit like sherbet. Right. I just thought I'd come and have a little snack before I potted on my celeriac. But we'll leave that there for the moment. Here is my celeriac. It's been growing on quite nicely under my grow light, but there's quite a few that has come up in each module, so I think it's time I potted them on now, and then they'll go into one pot, and then probably May time they'll go out into the bed. So I've got some compost here. I'm just going to add some perlite and some fish blood and bone to it, which will hopefully see it through then until the celeriac's ready to go in the ground, and then we'll start transplanting them. I'm using the pots that I emptied the onions out of earlier, so everything is always waiting on something else to be done, if that makes sense, but that's the way it is at this time of year, isn't it? So let's get these potted on. I'm mixing this together like I did the crumble. Which just goes to show gardening and cooking goes hand in hand. So I've got 4 here. I don't need to grow all these, but I can grow them on because there's always someone who wants some plants off you. Nice little well in the middle. With celeriac, try not to bury the crown. You want to go up to the crown but not bury the crown. So I'll get on and pot up the rest of these now. I've got 2 varieties of celeriac here, Monarch and Giant Prague. But first off, I'm going to finish my crumble. I've been Bethan, and this has been a lovely job. Take care, everybody.